Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 3 Journeys of Builder and Remodeler Growth. My name is Rick Storlie from Builder Lead Converter. I will be your host. The stars of the show here are on the panel. We'll introduce them shortly. But the purpose of this session is to uncover some real-world strategies for home builders and remodelers that are using right now to scale profitably. So just a couple of housekeeping notes from NAHB. They have not endorsed any of this information, and if you're getting continuing education for a designation, this does count. Again, my name is Rick Storlie, but I want to do a quick introduction of our panelists. So first of all, Kelly Anderson, and Jason Radford, and then John Van Lagen. We'll do a proper introduction here shortly, but we are really blessed to have not only a smorgasbord of how long they've been in business, but also different types of projects that they're doing, from very, very high-end custom homes to high-end remodeling to more specialty type stuff. So the big question we're trying to answer today is, what does it take to truly scale a custom home or remodeling business and multiply profits in today's market? So all of these guys are going to talk about that stalling point where working harder did not get them through the glass ceiling. They're going to talk about the business of building versus the craft of building. And then we're going to move into different stories of what worked and what didn't work for them. So the question you should be asking yourself as you get into that, is your business running you, or are you running your business? So this is nothing here is theories. This is real world case studies. And we're going to include John, who's going to share his story about in 12 months, how he went to 3 to 9% net profit. All right, so this will be 3 stages. We're going to work through this. So stage number 1 is going to be attracting, capturing, and converting high quality leads. We're going to look at sales process, how you get paid for estimating, different ways to charge for design, and then why you should niche down your company. Stage 2 is all about pre-construction. We're going to get into estimating. We'll get into slippage, margins, and selections. And then stage 3 is really operations. So consolidating your data, WIP. We're going to get into coaching, profitability, and then specific numbers that you want to track. So the goal is you're going to walk away with really a real world blueprint. We're going to give you some things that you can start doing on Monday when you get back next week. Now, I've already seen it. We got about 60 slides here. So instead of trying to take pictures of every slide, we're going to go very quickly. Just text slides to 612-629421. You will meet my AI assistant, Isabella, and she will be happy to send you a link to download the slides. And you can sit back, just enjoy the show and enjoy the wisdom that these guys have to offer. All right, we're gonna start with client acquisition. So this is gonna include marketing, lead generation, and initial follow-up. Now, a couple definitions here. Marketing is going to be creating value for your service, and conversion means taking a captured lead and converting them into a phone qualification appointment. All right, so become a local builder of choice in your niche. In your market, you really need to have 2 types of pipelines. So the first is going to be referral. A lot of you are already getting an organic referral, but we're talking business to business and business to consumer or client referrals. Second pipeline is going to be everything else. So that's going to include your website, GEO, paid ads, social media, and offline advertising as well. We'll touch on all of that. Now, the natural progression to these 2 pipelines is long-term nurturing, where you're going to focus on trust and value building. Starting with referrals, every design build firm should be actively targeting big 3. So these are realtors, interior designers, and architects. And so this is a discipline that really we move away from, where we get some organic referrals, but what we want to do is we want to move to systemization. Now, for architects and interior designers, there's a couple of ideas. Is be a resource for pricing and maybe project timing in those early design stages. Another way that you can help out and target your local interior designers and architects is show their information on your website, give them attribution, and backlink to their website. In turn, you can ask for them to do the same. Now, for realtors, you want to be their go-to person when their buyers ask how much. So how much to build a custom home, how much to remodel this kitchen, whatever it may be. I used to present continuing education to realtors, and I would have a room like this packed with realtors, and I would look up the MLS data and I would say, what is the percentage of new homes that are selling in that particular market? And it was always 10 to 15%, which means about 85 to 90% were used homes, but 10 to 15 were new. I would say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, how many of you are deriving 15% of your income from new construction? Guess how many hands went up? Not a one. Nobody was. So now they knew they're leaving money on the table by not having a builder partner. So all of you should have 100 realtors that think that they are your partner, that can bring you opportunities. Doesn't matter if you're remodeling or if you're building new. Find 10 local realtors that are bird dogs for land and teardowns. Partner with them to be built homes. So you can take a $300,000 vacant lot, convert it into a $2 million custom home. They're more than happy to partner with you. It gives you that many more lines in the water. All right, referrals. Could you send out anniversary cards to your past clients each year? Are you asking each client to leave you reviews more than once? Are you helping them maintain their investment in their home and stay top of mind for their next project or referral lead? Are you inviting them each quarter to come see your new projects? The beast, your digital beast here. Once you have a digital showroom or a model home that's set up correctly, it becomes really a salesperson who works for you 24/7. So one note to remember here when it comes to your website is not about you. It's about providing the information that is most desired by your local leads. Become a resource to their questions. All right, any former trade employees in the room? Anybody starting the trades? Few of you did. Yep, I did. Kelly did as well. So I started as a framer in the 80s. When we showed up to a job site, we would do a few things. Number one, we're checking the foundation, make sure it's plumb, make sure that there's no high points in the wall. We're doing a material check, make sure we're not short on anything. So in order to have a high-performing website, you've got to really build it on a solid foundation. So I'm going to go through a quick checklist here for you guys. Number one, yes, build it on WordPress and use Elementor. Focus on clear transitions and make it easy for AI to read your website. Keep your plugins to a minimum so the site loads very quickly, because caching will kill both your user experience as well as your search visibility. Okay, never set it and forget it. You want to check the health weekly. A couple of weeks ago, a builder said, hey, can you look at my website? We looked at it. It was set to no index. So if you know anything about websites and no index, it means it's invisible. Search can't see it. So use reporting metrics to fine tune each page. Now, clean URLs enhance the user experience, so focus on the user experience with that. We're a visual industry, which means a lot of our websites are very image heavy. So you've got to optimize the images and assets for both search and the users. Remember that spinning wheel of death? That is a no-no for everything. Security and uptime. So assume your website's gonna get attacked. Just assume it is. You want to build the site to withstand them. Have a plan so if you get hacked, it's easy to restore. And don't wait for issues to happen. You want to look for them daily. Now, popular topic. Everyone wants to show up in AI search summaries, right? Why am I not showing up in ChatGPT? No, that's a very common topic today. It's called a zero-click summary. Yes, there is a strategy to do this. And yes, you need to focus on traditional search. Just a quick note, about 75% of your leads today are already using AI search summaries to find a builder. It's already happening right now, so this is something you do need to be looking at and looking at it very closely. All right, offline opportunities. Give your leads a reason to visit your website. Give them a clear call to action. Put a rider on your job site signs. If you're offering free estimates, whether it's on your business card, your trucks, or your website, get rid of it. It devalues your company and you're going to attract the wrong type of clientele. Remodelers, you should geographic farm the neighborhoods that you are in. Just change the call to action. Most remodelers will say, well, we're building your neighbor's home and if there's a problem, call us. That is the absolute wrong way you want to start a relationship, but do continue to farm. Okay, map search is key for local search. Most of your local search traffic and your opportunities are going to come through your map search. So it's a combination of map search, AI summary, and traditional search that really bring in the buyers. Your review campaigns should be ongoing, but they have to look organic. All right, so leverage your free house profile. Anybody hang out in Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups, local community groups? It's a great way to find opportunities. Yeah, hey Chris, how you doing, buddy? A great way to find opportunities and show your expertise. You can be the go-to guy. Badges and awards, those are confidence builders. So yes, it doesn't matter how minimal the award was or a house badge, put it on your website. That helps people feel confident in taking the next step to talk to you. All right, if you're selling design build, do not waste your time with local service ads. If any of you have and you're selling design build, you know that if you're selling handyman stuff, it's fine, but not design build. Geo-target on Meta for remodeling, that is important. Custom audience, lookalike audience, and retargeting really work best on Meta. Video ads are the most effective ad right now. 90% of internet traffic today is short form video. That's how popular it is for people to find information is through video. So short form video is key. All right, AI does have an affinity for public relations. So press releases are important in getting in other periodicals where your name shows up. Service areas are a waste for your Google business profile. You have to have a physical location. Don't waste your time. Local and national backlinks are critical for the authority of your website. Okay, so now we've attracted opportunities. Now we need to capture them. So this is all about starting a relationship and meeting the lead where they are at. Remember, 90% of your website visitors are going to come and go. They're going to come and go. So meet the lead where they're at. Give them an offer they can't refuse. So what does that look like? So ready, willing, and able versus just looking. So I started out, I worked in a model home. And if I asked people, hey, are you thinking about building a home? They would say, oh, well, we're just looking. And I'd say, oh, so you're researching. What kind of information are you looking for today? And this is what they would tell me. Okay, so number one, they could not visualize what that project would look like. They wanted information on design. So custom builders, yes, you have to have floor plans, even though I know you do not build the same home twice. Remodelers, you need to show case studies, your project photos on there. You got to have answers to FAQs. This is important for multiple reasons. These are just as popular with your leads as they are with AI. So FAQs are huge. Make them as specific as possible to the locations you serve as well as the services. Okay, the lead does not yet want to talk. So start the relationship and build trust and establish value. Give them an opportunity to opt in without having to get on the phone with you. Okay, so AI search is, if you guys are not familiar with this yet, but AI search wants transparency and pricing. So I was like you, and for many years I fought this. It's like somebody calls me up and say, well, what's your price per square foot? It's like, well, you buy your groceries by the pound, right? Anybody ever used that one before? You have to now be more transparent with your pricing with AI search. Okay, when someone gets asked that question, what's your price per square foot? It's simply because they don't understand how to differentiate you from your competitors. Neither does AI. So allow a lead to go through and personalize the budget on your website. Have an AI assist, which is really important. So now what we're doing is we are going through and we're price conditioning. That's the first step in the relationship. I was telling these guys the other day, I said I went out and I bought a new truck a few years ago. I said my budget was $25,000, I spent $50,000. Okay, your leads are the same way. They don't understand the cost here, so you have to start price conditioning right away. And we're going to talk more about how to deal with those price objections. All right, so track all your data in one location. Do not use your personal cell or your personal email or office number for follow-up. Have all that being separate and automated so you can just follow up when you need to. Use AI tracking to score lead engagement. So you can have AI monitor your database. So as you're following up, it looks for engagement, let the cream rise to the top. All right, so the last part here is conversion. So let your AI assistant be the first point of contact. Doesn't matter how they contact you, let them be the first point of contact. Stop chasing your leads. Make it easy for them to tell you when they're available to talk. And remember, you are being compared to not the builder next door or your top competitor. You're being compared to their favorite place to do business. So treat them like they are the most important people in the world. Follow up in this initial phase is key because it sets the stage as a lead for how great they will be as a client, okay, when they are your client. Now, what happens if the lead doesn't book a call for your AI assistant or maybe your website? Well, give them a compelling reason to want to talk to you. The more personalized you can make the messaging, the follow-up, the higher the conversion rate. Salesperson works in conjunction with automation. You can't just set it and forget it. You have to still have the sales. The AI will get there, I think, someday, but it's not there yet. Take over when it's time and then strike when the iron is hot. Very important. The reason you follow up in a minute is because ideally, if they're still on your website, the conversions go that much faster. Typically, a website visit's about a minute and a half. Approximately 70% of your captured leads will not book a call in the first 2 weeks. So what that means is, for every 10 leads you capture, you're going to only talk to about 3. So you want to build trust and value through education. It's very important. This works great with AI search as well. You give first. In other words, I'm going to give you information first and then you receive. Very important in starting these relationships. It might take 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years. Stay top of mind and be the logical choice for when they are ready to talk. All right, start with building your brand human. Okay, you need to humanize yourself first. So one of the things we notice is like for remodelers is that the second most visited page on a remodeling website next to the home page is the About Us section. And it's because they're inviting you into their home. They want to know who you are. They trust. So your About Us section for remodelers probably gets the most views and needs to have the most attention to it. Show how you're helping people just like them. Realize, remember, it's all about a hope-for lifestyle. You're not home builders, you're not remodelers. You are helping people realize that hope-for lifestyle. Be that local go-to source of information and answers. All right, so how do you convert an online lead to a face-to-face meeting? You got to give them an offer, something they can't get online. Make it limited and exclusive. And events allow you to really showcase your work, which of course is the number one thing that they're looking for, because they want to understand what they can build because they cannot visualize it. Use AI-powered smart text to reconnect and check in on cold and aging leads. This is incredibly powerful. Your database is a gold mine, and that's, again, probably your third pipeline. If you can pull people from referrals, you can pull people from your digital client acquisition system, and you have a database management, you can get business out of all three consistently, and you can start to scale your opportunities. Every 3 months, again, you've determined who is ready to talk. And I have seen clients that at 5 years it took to sell a $2 million custom home. So we'll call them groupies at that point. I'm sure you guys have a few groupies as well, but don't give up on those leads. Okay, again, if you want a copy of those slides, 612-662-9421. We're gonna move to introducing our builders. Then we're gonna move into the sales stage, and then they're going to be, talking about converting these leads into profitable projects. Mr. Radford, tell us a little bit about Radford Custom Builders.
Sure. Thank you, Rick. Thank you guys for coming. Hope we'll bring some value to today in our conversation. So my name is Jason Radford. I am the owner of Radford Building Company. We're based out of the Durham area in North Carolina. And we focus in residential construction, mostly design build, but that's just kind of where we've landed over the last 6 years. You can see I started in 2020. I will say first off, I'll tell you guys backstage, I'm here as an expert, though I've implemented some things that I hope you guys can learn from as we chat and things. I'm very much in the trenches, trying to figure out how to grow, how to scale, what things to do, what's working, what's not working. You can see, just to give you a sense of scale, last year was our best year yet. We did just under $3 million in revenue, which feels really good to me as a small builder. We were profitable, but we'll talk about that some more as we get later into it. You can kind of see that we focus more on the remodeler side, the higher end, 200 to 500,000, which in our area is a pretty substantial remodel. And then on the new build, anywhere from 800,000 to 1,000 is kind of what we see as our niche at this point. And so we're a team of really, I'd say 3.5. I've got 3 full-time, including myself, and then a part-time person helping me in all this. So we're still a very small team, but trying to keep tracking forward and as we move ahead.
So Jason's numbers from 2025. So he averaged 109 website visitors each month. His GEO kicked in pretty good in the fourth quarter. So this is what's incredible about Jason. For every 100 opportunities, he captured 19 leads, which is like off the charts good. January was his best month. So for the year, 228 leads captured, or an average of 19 per month. Organic search and direct traffic were the top channels, and 47% of his website leads booked a call. So he had 65 appointments. He averaged about 5.5 per month. And Jason, your current backlog going into 2026?
We are about 10 months booked out, so pretty much for this year. We feel pretty good. Yeah.
All right. Moving over to Kelly.
Hello, everyone. Thank you again for attending. I echo a lot of what Jason said. We hope that we can hopefully offer some information to you guys today. It'll be helpful. I am the owner and partner at Ironwood Custom Builders. We're based out of Salt Lake City. We build and remodel custom homes. We tend to do about 10 to 20 projects a year, and last year we did about $5 million in revenue.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So numbers for Kelly. For every 100 opportunities, he landed about 3.5 leads, 313 leads captured, or 26 per month. Organic search and direct, again, were his top channels. 35% of his web leads were captured as an opportunity. So that was about 85 total, or 7 appointments per month. And your current backlog, Kelly? About 9 months. All right, and then over to John.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I'm John Van Lagen. I'm the co-owner of Carpentry. I'm a second-generation family business. The company started 50 years ago. I've been in it for 35. Was not my intent to get into this when I first came out of high school. I was going to be a machinist, but I worked at that time, and I started working with my father, Joe, who started the business. I had never quit. My dad was a master carpenter. I was more of a carpenter assistant. He seen that my skill was more on the number side, the hook side of it, so he started pushing it that way. And from that, I was able to grow the business along with my brother, William. In 2005, we started another company, a cabinet company. So we have two companies. I run the carpentry renovation side, and the other guy is my brother, runs the cabinetry side. So we've learned some stuff. We've done maximum of $6 million. Just over $6 million. Last year was slower here in Canada, so it was a snowy month. Been a tough year last year, but this year's starting a lot better.
So John's numbers from 2025, he averaged 2,700 website visitors a month. For every 100 opportunities, he captured 1.56 leads. January was his best month. 385 leads for the year, so he averaged about 1 per month or 32 per month. 42% of his leads booked a call, or 111, averaging of 9.25 per month. And your backlog? Of 4 months. From, I think, Q4, right?
Yes. Q4 was 3, so we are starting to early back. We have been out as far as that.
Yes, right. And working our way back there. Yeah. All right, we're gonna move into sales. This is gonna be more of a hot seat format. I'm gonna ask a question. Each builder's gonna give an answer here, and we'll go through this pretty quickly. So we just identified a 5-step process here. Step number 1 is, again, they've got that appointment. So you heard how many appointments they had from their client acquisition. So first question is, who takes that call? John?
That's taken by our admin assistants, basically. So we designated two different people on different days. I do not take that call. So it's either Jay or Kayla.
Jason?
Well, like I said, I'm still in the trenches, so that is me. I take all the calls.
Okay. And Kelly?
I take the call.
Kelly takes the call. All right, thank you very much. Next question is, okay, for the tech, you have online leads. Those are automatically going into a booking campaign. Offline leads, do you use that, or do you follow up manually? John?
We follow up manually.
Follow up manually. Jason?
Well, we would, through the sales view, of course, it's got the built-in follow-up, but beyond that, we would follow up manually.
So you get a signed call, do you follow up manually? Okay, yep. Next question, of course, is time. How much time on average do you spend on that qualification call? Start with John.
About 10 minutes.
Jason, we were talking about this morning. He doesn't want to give his answer.
Too long. Too long. It can be 10 minutes up to an hour plus. My efforts to help sometimes handcuff myself. So I'm learning still to try to figure out how to do that. But yeah.
We're usually about 5 to 10 minutes.
5 to 10 minutes. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Next question. Initial consultation. Where does that meeting take place? In your office, showroom, customer's home, or virtual? John?
That will depend on what the actual job is. So for remodel jobs, usually the smaller ones, when it's in home, in the larger, we'll bring them in-house or custom home.
Okay. Jason?
Yeah, similar, depends on the job. If it's a renovation, of course, when you have the site, you understand what you're looking to achieve. If it's a new home, if you have a lot, I do like to meet a lot, get to know for the labeling and kind of make sure that what you're wanting to actually work that lot. Or it may just be an in-office conversation if you don't have a lot, or so it could be any of those three.
Same with us. If it's remodel, we meet at the house. If it's new construction, we meet in our office. We do not look at the lot. I'm not ready to commit to that just yet. So.
All right, next question. What should be homework? Prior to that call, do you ask them to have anything prepared prior to that meeting?
With the system we have, it just automatically gives them a wish list to fill out. So we ask them to look at that and bring any needs they want.
Needs, wants, and wish list. Yep. Okay, Jason?
Yeah, similar to the system we have. It does that for us. Often people don't fill it out though, and so beyond that, we don't require anything other than if they email and say, hey, come and try this. Come and try to have a good conversation about what it is you want to achieve, and that's how we go.
Kelly?
We send a needs and wants list after the initial phone consultation and ask them to fill that out and send it back to us a day before we meet. I tell people that if they will commit to doing that before we meet, it'll make our meeting much more productive. It'll be a much better use of our time. We even go so far as to, if someone does not send that back the day before, I will email them and say, just a reminder, and then say something along the lines of, I haven't seen your needs and wants list yet. If you're not quite ready for the meeting, we can reschedule. Because my feeling is that if you're not going to commit to our process and follow my rules and my instructions, that's the first red flag. And usually when I send that email, I usually get a pretty quick response.
Next question. So what is the goal after that first meeting? What do you want to have happen next, John?
So the goal in the first meeting is basically we're trying to sell them an NAHB, which is developing their interior design proposal.
Okay. And we'll talk about that here coming up. Jason?
Yeah, similar for us, our goal is to sell what we call a concept agreement, which is a design agreement, just let us start the map out, scope, and baseline design. Also, too, I think with that goal, it's such a big commitment that it may be that we set up this meeting just to help continue to build that trust with them, because I think for a client, it's such a commitment to make, even to engage with their contraction and pay that fee, whatever that might be. We'll talk about that later.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, for us, the initial phone call is pre-qualification. The initial consultation is pre-qualifying as well. So really what we're trying to figure out in that first meeting is this still the client we work with? Once we have made that determination, and of course, we have two pre-construction agreements. The first is the feasibility study. That's the end goal, as long as we've made the determination that this is something we're going to work with.
All right, reality check. Is that preliminary estimate where we're getting into it? Okay, so do you charge for preliminary estimates? John?
It's a must.
Jason?
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, but real quick, tell me what you guys are charging.
Well, we're charging based on, we look at the job and figure out what's time we're going to put in. What's the design part, the estimating part, and you figure out what we have to charge on a spreadsheet and we're working on it. RFP is done in 2 stages, so we have an initial concept part, which is someone started the down payment, and then if they want to go pre-done with Class A estimate, then they pay more, but they already at that NAHB stage $1,000. That's their choice to move forward.
Is that a flat fee or a percentage?
It's more or less a percentage, but we do more on based on what we think time is the most time.
Okay, sure. Jason?
Yeah, so that's something I have a process in place. We have a minimum of 7,500 is our minimum, but it's not an estimate. So the way we're structured, we talk about this back there as well. Currently, we map out a conceptual design, so I'm paying a designer to come in and actually design that, and then we sit down and do a deep scope dive, so we really understand what is it that you're actually wanting from the house. So then we can create a very detailed estimate budget proposal that's very thorough, and so you're really getting a lot more. But I think I'm looking at that in 26 years old, because you can do something a little quicker, a little less investment. I'm seeing some friction from clients lately where that feels steep for certain clients, and trying to figure that out.
Sure. Kelly?
We've honed in on a percentage. So the feasibility study is kind of the equivalent of your traditional pre-estimate. We charge a quarter percent for that, so $250 per grant. That's the first step, and then we charge 1% for proposal preparation, and then if we do design in-house, it's somewhere between 5%.
Okay, now, big question, right? How do you sell this? Because typically the common objection is, well, my competitors aren't charging for estimates, so how do you sell it, John?
I think we have to sell for, give them more clarity. Just to give you a story from last Friday, my son had a call with a client that had been talking to like 7 to 9 builders that had a different course stuff that, but they were totally confused. So he basically laid out the process and said, so we're going to figure out the value to you is basically we'll do the design, give you a budget, we'll go in further to give you an actual price. He goes through all the details, so you know before you sign up for building contract exactly what that costs. So you don't have to spend a lot of money and basically go do a contract as long as open-ended questions. The idea is that there are instructions done how your questions answered. So there's very few changes. I'm not saying here get no change orders, but very few change orders gives people a lot, your clients a lot better peace of mind than going into a contract.
So they talked to 9 other builders to get a quote-unquote bid, and then they paid you to present an estimate. Okay. Jason?
Yeah, so also we go back to sort of pre-construction, just to share a little bit more about like I said, new home for us, we end up being right around 5 to 6% of the bill, all pre-construction services. But how do we sell that? I think that our goal is to help them understand the value add and really the fact that we're minimizing risk through that pre-construction process and mapping out for them, creating a detailed schedule from start to finish so they can see when we're actually going to start to work, what that looks like. And one of the big questions, obviously, how much is the house going to cost? B, when are you going to be done? When can I move in? And having detailed budgets in place. But again, it's hard, but helping them understand that value. When we spend this time up front, mapping out the details, working through the scope, creating budgets, it mitigates your risk. So that when we build, we've already got this figured out. We've got the selection, as you were saying, John, determined, and that, like I said, it reduces change orders, it reduces future friction versus just pushing things through quickly with a bunch of allowances and assumptions and hopes, and then just kind of hope it works out.
Yeah, Kelly?
Raise your hands, how many people are selling pre-construction?
A lot. That's great.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I was like most people 15, 16 years ago when I heard this presentation about selling pre-construction. I thought, how on earth am I going to do that when everyone else is getting pre-construction? There's just no way. Finally figured it out. The first time I did it, I bombed. I knew I bombed. I went back to my office, I tweaked, I revised. Second initial consultation I went to, I got a check. I'll never be able to waste my time again. How I'm selling it, to your question, is much to what these guys have said, detail and accuracy. We do fixed price contracts, even on complex remodels. Once you get used to it, it's easy to do. My subs are good at it. They understand the process. They understand that they only have one chance to get the bid right. If there's an unknown, you have to document it. And so it's very rare that I get an invoice from someone that's more than what the bid was, even on these complex remodels, short of a change order. But again, detail and accuracy. And what I'm telling the client is we are going to dot I's, cross T's, and make sure that we get to a point where you know what you're going to get and you know what you're going to pay, short of you making a change after the fact. But given the process that we're going to go through, it's your house, you can change anything at any time, but I want to reduce that as much as possible for your peace of mind. So that again, peace of mind.
Yep. And we're going to talk about conversions here shortly as far as how that works. Okay, design fee. Do you charge a separate fee? It sounds like, John, yes, you do for design, and again, flat fee or percentage?
Well, it's a separate fee, but it's all for the original. So it's Part A, Part B, so they don't have time to. So basically, the first part is just basically scope and a basic design. But then the second part, the prelim side of it, your interior design. So our interior design is very highly involved in the selection. So there's a lot of value there. People do like the idea of working with interior designer. We have one on staff, so some people use it outsourced.
Okay, Jason?
Yeah, we do charge a separate design fee. We don't have people on staff like John, so we outsource that. And our first agreement, we have a similar kind of two-stage pre-construction, leading up to construction. And so that initial fee you pay includes design and scoping and budgeting and everything. And then the second stage, we generally just allocate a certain amount of hours that we deem reasonable that we can use because they can finish the design work, so they have an idea of what it's going to cost.
Okay.
As I mentioned earlier, usually we're 6% of the build cost on the new build.
Kelly, I think you already answered this for your charging for your design fee. How much?
3 to 5.
3 to 5%.
So 3%, 5% if I have a structural engineer. We have a lot of steep stuff in Salt Lake, and so if there's a geotech, it's either 6 or 7%.
Okay. All right. And partnership. Do you work with outside architects and designers? John?
We do have a relationship with an outside architect. Designer, we have in-house.
Yep.
He used to do that outsourced, but we found very in-house was much more control and give us a little more flexibility. Being we do a lot of smaller jobs, like we're doing 60 jobs a year, so we need some flexibility with power of that. We do a little bit of our design in-house structural basic stuff, but when it comes to the larger, more in detail plan.
And Jason, I think you already said you outsource all your design. Yep. And Kelly?
I do a lot of design myself, maybe 50 to 75%, it kind of varies. And so if I'm too busy or I don't want to do something, then we have architects and designers.
So next question then, the money flow. So if you are working with an outside architect, does the client pay you and then you are contracting the architect, or vice versa? Are they paying the architect? And then the follow-up question that is, do you allow them to speak with the architect, or does everything flow through you? So John, let's start with you.
We do report, most of our conversation goes with our interior designer. She also is an architectural designer, so that's where most of the conversation goes. Once it goes to the outsourced architect, again, usually the stuff usually goes through us, or we will meet together, so
you don't lose that control. Yep. Okay, Jason?
Yeah, so on a design build project, they are contracting with us, so we are paying the designer, and so they're only paying us. But in another case, I've got a project right now working with a third-party architect, and so that client is paying the architect, they're paying me for the pre-construction part, but all communication is flowing through me because I tell my clients we need one source, one platform to capture and document every meeting, and so I'll request to be every designer just for awareness, and I'm the one documenting because in my experience,
Kelly?
We have the client contract directly with the architect designer. I think I would like to get to a point where there's a lot of value in having everything come through you. You get the client in the habit of writing checks to you, signing your agreement. There's some psychological aspects to that that builds that sort of more trust and tie to you. But we have.
Do they communicate directly with the architect too, or through you?
They communicate directly with the architect, but I'm involved. I'm always copying on the emails and give feedback, and then I attend them.
if you don't do that, you lose control of it very quick.
Exactly. Quick one.
We had a project last year with a hot $3 million new build, interior designer on staff that the client brought in outside of us. And we were running budgets and things, and I was privy to any of these outside meetings where things had been changed, and all of a sudden they come to find out they had changed. I mean, like $500,000-$600,000 worth of features that I knew nothing about. And at last minute, rented up the budget, and they were frustrated with me. I'm like, well, you guys didn't pull me into the conversation. I need to be a part of this, but for a while to do that, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before. It's so unusual. Okay. So closing, feasibility to design. So once you get that initial $1,500, I think you said, John, how many of those people convert to design approximately? 80%. Okay, Jason?
We're still about 75%.
So our feasibility study, we convert about 33%.
Of leads to feasibility, right?
Well, initial consultation.
Yeah, okay.
Feasibility.
Yep.
Industry standard for that meeting for people that do the traditional pre-estimate approach, about 33 or 30%. So we're about 3% better than that. Where the magic happens is once we get that agreement signed, it's virtually 100%.
Well,
we very rarely have anything more.
So that's the next question. Once you go to design, what percentage of those are converting to a construction contract, John?
Well, sorry, maybe I'm getting that wrong. That's 80%. So we're probably about 50% to get to the IDP.
Okay. And then 80% to contract.
I don't know our conversion percentage, say from like meeting to who signs the agreement. When they sign the concept, it's about 75% that goes into the next stage. Once they go to the second stage, we're about 90%.
90, okay. And then Kelly? Yeah, almost 100%. And as far as the close, this is a question I threw at them. I said, all right, so once you get to that point where you're signing the construction contract, ready to start, what's one thing that you make sure is done in order to ensure a referral-worthy start?
Control selections are done.
Okay, so Jason?
I think going back to what we were talking about is different stages like we do, presenting the budget early on, and then just keeping them updated along the way so that when you sit down and you sign that construction contract, it feels like more of a formality. Numbers have been solidified, the scope has been solidified. Yes, you've had some fun conversations along the way, making mistakes and that, but the construction contract is like, oh man, what happened into the budget? And I think that really helps you build that trust with that.
Kelly? Ditto? All right, thank you. Moving on. All right, so now we're gonna get into pre-construction, talk a little bit about estimating. So software, what are you using, John? Jason?
We use CoConstruct.
Kelly?
So I use a spreadsheet, but that's just for preliminary budget purposes. And the only reason why I use a spreadsheet is when I started out framing, I created a spreadsheet to do material takeoffs, and then when I started building, it just evolved. And for me, it just works.
Okay. And as far as structure, so fixed price or cost?
Fixed price, I don't want a cost plus conversation every number. Don't want that.
Jason?
100% agree.
Yeah, we're fixed price too. Due to COVID price increases, we added what we call an actual cost element to our contract, and we'll throw various commodity stuff in there, lumber, asphalt, and shingles, and things like that. And I just kind of base it on what is my tolerance for risk at that particular time when I sign the contract.
Yeah, we have a cost estimation, basically.
All right, time. Approximately how long does it take to put together an estimate for remodeling, and same question for a custom home?
Budget, or we're talking final?
Final.
On the price quote, we could spend probably anywhere from 20 to 40 hours.
Well, if we're talking just running numbers, right, I can do that very efficiently in a couple of hours, but if we're packaging that to present it into the, is that what you're talking about?
Well, you're exactly sliding it across the
And
table.
I'm more with John. By the time you meet with your trade partners, you get vendor pricing, and you do all these things, man, you're spending, what you guys know, dozens of days and weeks to produce that, which is why we pay for construction, right? We'll put a lot of time into that.
Kelly?
10 hours per.
Per 100,000, 10 hours per 100,000. All right, and as far as deliverables, how have you improved accuracy and speed over time? John?
Again, a lot of data-driven decisions, basically. I keep data as much as I possibly can. So through that, you get to more speed because you understand it. But data and past history, what you've done, never forget that. I keep that base and use it all the time.
Jason?
Key, we've talked about that recently. I know, Kelly, for you, had used a spreadsheet, and I thought, man, this thing is a tick, you know? But then the co-construction, we go to trim their homes. And so I did spend a lot of time building out parameters where I can answer about 100 questions, and it spits out a budget that gets me about 85% accuracy without any sort of overview or perspective. And that process can be done.
Do you have unit pricing in?
Yeah,
It is,
similar to
okay.
what you said, John.
Yeah.
All the database, cost catalogs, I keep updated when I get pricing updates, when I'm sure I'm changing cost catalog.
Does that update automatically like through an API? So like if the vendor raises their price, it shows up
It
and,
doesn't go automatically.
Okay.
I have to manually go there, but then I can apply to just every project or broadcast that.
Okay. Yeah.
We get into that element too with, after every job, we do a job audit. And in that, we will discuss what we were able to add, and we'll watch our estimates, and we'll estimate all the catalog, if we decide to change a number that's needed.
Kelly?
Yeah, systems and processes for sure. My spreadsheet, to kind of tag on what he said. Given the age of it, it's pretty complex. It starts with I enter the overall square footage of the home. Anything related to square footage that requires takeoff, it's automatically factored. So I'm able to do it pretty quickly.
Okay, gross margin and markup, the $1 million question. Okay, so remodeling, what are you targeting for gross margins or markup, whatever you prefer, and same thing for custom homes?
So for modeling, it's 35%, and for custom homes, 25% margins.
Jason?
We are targeting something similar for remodels, on the margin about 35 to 40% is our goal. On new construction, the goal is 25. John, I haven't got there yet. I'm hovering about 20% on the margin.
Yes, for markups, 50% and 30%.
Okay, and is that for new homes?
For remodels.
Remodeling?
New construction, markups about 20 to 30. If it's cash, customer, we can get a little bit more. If they get financing, then you have
Appraisal, yep, you got to contend with.
Yeah.
Okay, design. So are you using a coordinator? And I guess the secondary question to that is, do you have a showroom? So John.
Yes, we have a showroom, and we have interior design stuff.
Jason?
We do not have a showroom. We do have a selections coordinator, not an interior designer, but she does help work with our clients to help pick out the various things.
Okay, Kelly?
We have a selections coordinator, and she just takes that all over.
Okay, and allowances. So we talked about this a little bit. Are they all completed, the selections completed prior to contract, or do you go into a contract, into a job with allowances?
The goal is to have them all completed. If they're not, we can really stress that this is an allowance and this is still open. That this could vary and it's not going to be a good price.
Similar, the goal is to have as many, especially we try to highlight the critical ones, doors, windows, plumbing, flooring, roofing, siding, things like this. They're just really big cost drivers. it does help bring clarity, like you're saying, John, to the pricing structure. If it's something like your cabinet knobs, I'm not going to sit here and stress and say, you've got to do this before signing construction contracts. We try to have some fluidity there with the client.
Same for us. We stress the need that if we're trying to get to the most accurate fixed price proposal possible, we've got to have all these details solidified. So I would say 95 to 99% of the time, we have everything 100%.
Okay. So we're talking about variances. What do you typically see in variances for change orders for the total job price? And then the follow-up question is, drum roll please, do you charge for change orders? So John first.
So on average, probably about 2-3% of change orders from the job is work. We do not charge for change orders, but we should.
Jason?
We are similar. For new builds, I know we're about 2 to 3% delta from construction contract amount to finish completed project. And change order. We do charge for change orders, so for us, we just do a 25% bill fee. That's how we structure that.
Okay. Kelly?
Percentage-wise, it's all over the spectrum. I can get through a project without a single change order. I was telling these guys backstage, we had a recent one in our city where when I met with the prospect, he was adamant that $2 million was the max. He didn't spend any more. They signed a contract with 2.5, and we are just now wrapping up in the 3.1. So they have 600,000 change orders. So yeah, prospects lie. We do charge our standard 50% for change orders. We also charge an estimating fee for change orders, and we also charge a $250 a day delay fee to the client.
Kelly's not fooling around. He's not playing. All right, Jason, just summarize a few points here. These are some things that you put together that you said were, really impactful in you getting your business to where it's at.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about some of it, but the marketing, if we're looking at marketing, obviously, I think our partnership with the team has been really helpful to take away that side of back. Before I had the partnership with Rick and his team, my cell phone was the only number out there. I think in your earlier said, don't do that.
No.
But when you start a business with nothing, you kind of start right there. And so all the time people call me. So that's been instrumental to helping just automate. Somebody goes and books an appointment with me while I'm on vacation with my family, and I just look on my calendar. There it is. That's been huge. The agreements we've talked about, the concept agreement, the leading up to construction contract, has been really getting paid for construction. You mentioned that too, guys. That's been a huge thing. It's been a catalyst for business. It's built that for the trust to get that 90% return for you, 99. I'm just trying to get what you are. And if we're looking at estimation accuracy, I think again the time I spent, which was a lot of time to build out the program spreadsheet, it's just a powerhouse. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there have something similar. If you don't, work hard to get that. Project schedules, I think again, showing your clients up front what it's going to look like. That engagement, because we know in custom building for homes in particular, this can be a 12-month to 2-year journey to design and build a map of one thing, which is size of the project. So having that up. And again, these systems that reduce friction. I think all of these things are in place and done well. They do help reduce friction because it makes it easier for us to do our job, which helps reduce friction and makes the client give them more transparency on what's going to happen.
Definitely systems and processes. No matter where you're at in this, I've been doing this for 31 years, and I realize every day that there's just stuff that I need to work on, I don't know, I need to figure out. Having a mentor or joining a Builder 20 group with NAHB, Modelers Advantage, Association of Professional Builders, any of those organizations that can provide a mentorship opportunity, absolutely 100% take advantage of that. I worked with a Remodelers Advantage mentor for years, and it absolutely transformed my business. Financials, who in here is using a WIP? That percentage is way too small. If you're not using a WIP, you are not managing your business with the right numbers.
We're going to talk about that here shortly.
Yeah, very data-driven. That's who I am. I'm very, when I started as a partner owner of the business, and then it gave me that control, I was always looking for ways to make companies more profitable, trying to talk to people who couldn't find, they didn't get astray, talk to a consulting company once, and they just picked me. So at that time, I was just totally frustrated. Started to slowly build, couldn't get the profits up. Finally, in 2020, I came across Association of Professional Builders, and they give me the clarity that I needed to know where I should be with what I'm doing. So, gross profit, your steady pipeline, where your net profit should be, what you can mark up, what kind of margins you can get. Before that, I was all over the board with that. They were going to give me that clarity, and then they were overcome that internal fight. I can charge more than what I think more. Because your competition doesn't tell you in our area. But joining these associations that are open, will discuss things, very important. Whether it's a home builder association, whether it's a coaching company, I would highly recommend a coaching company. If they would start, that helped me in the future.
So some cross-company lessons here, and we got just a couple of minutes left, so we'll go quickly through this. But Jason, a little bit on if you want to start off there.
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned that several times, but again, I know, Kelly mentioned this too, just, you got to work hard and get systems in place, because that is what will empower you to be able to scale. And again, that's where I feel like I've got systems in place, so I am tooled to scale. Now, the question is, how do I scale? And again, through estimating and pre-construction services agreements, getting paid for estimating, that was actually a big catalyst last year. I think we did like $150,000 pre-construction services last year alone. So I think having these things in place helps build that pipeline.
Yep. So Kelly, here's your WIP calculations. Let's talk a little bit more about that.
Really, financial management as a whole. I, like a lot of us in this industry, came up in the trades on the framework by trade. I swing a hammer. Finances was not my thing. And it took me a long time to realize how important it was to manage my finances. Because I always figured if I pay my bills, I pay myself, and I pay the bank, it's all good. And it wasn't until probably 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I started to feel a little bit uneasy about our finances, and I don't know what it was. Can't pinpoint it. Something just didn't feel right. And so I had been with Remodeler's Advantage for quite a while at that point, and we hadn't talked about finances at any earlier. And so I brought it up with my mentor, and he helped me start to realize all of the things that I was either doing incorrectly or not doing at all on my financials, the WIP being one of them. And once I started to figure that out, I realized just how lucky I was that I had survived financially for as long as I had. And it came to the realization that the only reason I survived was just sheer volume. We just simply did enough volume to stay ahead of it. So financial management is a big part of your business, and managing your business by the various numbers and KPIs. If you are not paying attention to your finances, you have got to start doing that immediately.
John, specialization.
So that's one of the things, like we were a Carpentry company, so you couldn't say no to anybody. But I realized that I want to pick who I want. That's what I do with clients. I learned to say no. You don't want to be doing every last little thing. So it's important to find a niche, focus on that niche, and it's okay to say no. Don't be afraid to say no to a client. If you feel uncomfortable, find them somewhere. Say, here, call this person. Give them help.
I'm going to jump ahead to this slide here, and if you guys have questions, there's a microphone here. We'll get to them here in a second. I'm going to have these guys, this is your roadmap. I asked the guys just to come, hey, can you put together a growth blueprint? What does this look like if you're sitting in the audience? What's takeaways you can take from this to make some big impacts in your business? But Jason, let's start with you on tools.
Well, again, I think, getting the right tool of software in place. I mean, most of you guys I'm sure have software in place. Work hard to get that implemented so it can be open source for you. I would like to highlight a lot of what Kelly said, I think is so true, with the financial clarity. Is anybody here familiar with Profit First by chance? Yeah. So there's Profit First for contractors written by John Van Lagen. I think implementing that in my business has been so key because I know where my cash is going, and it's all, and I use a banking platform called Relay that helps automate. If you're not familiar with these tools, I mean, those are powerful because right, without clarity of where your financials are, you don't have much of a shot. It's going to be really hard to be successful.
Yep, thank you. And Kelly on processes.
Document systems, processes, policies, procedures. E-Myth is kind of entrepreneur 101. Yeah, E-Myth, I recommend reading that. Another good book is Built to Sell by John Van Lagen. Very good book for helping you to get your business to a point where it can run without you.
John, financial controls.
We do your watch it daily, basically. Instead of job costs line, basically. We have to build a trend. Work in progress is very important to understand that. Most custom builders have a negative whip. We do not have a positive whip. Most accountants don't understand this. So you need an accountant that understands the building industry or a coaching company that can really teach it. Very important. Because sometimes you might have $300,000-$400,000 per minute as time goes.
You have 5 key metrics too that you said you kind of live and die by.
So gross margins is big. Also watch our overhead ratio. We are a renovation company that your overhead ratio is a little higher than a home builder. Watch your net profit, we always do that. We also watch our leads in our lead pipeline. Work with the CRM. It's very important that the CRM on the top so you can watch what's coming through that pipeline. I focus that on more than I focus on the back end myself.
Very good, very important. Last thing I want to mention here before we get to questions is, educational marketing. Be a local resource for your leads. Your leads are looking for information before they want a builder. So be the source of information, because then the natural progression is they'll pick you as the builder. And of course, you date in design, like these guys are telling you, that pre-construction period is your dating period. And then if the dates go well and everyone's happy, right? 90, 95, 99.99% conversion to contract. Just give these guys a big hand. Thank you so much. If you have a question, please let me know. I'm gonna repeat it so it gets on the audio recording. Yes, ma'am, right there.
What percentage of expenses are marketing when you started for your company was more?
So the question was, what percentage of your expenses go towards marketing, and has it changed from when you started to where it is today? John?
Now I probably spend about 2% on marketing, content marketing.
Jason, do you know yet? You said 0. Yeah, it was just referral. Jason?
Yeah, we're low on that. John and I are actually the same coaching program, and I think they recommend 3%. Association of Professional Builders recommends 3%. I'm probably like 0.5%. It's something that we want to grow to, but I've been so busy with referrals since I started that if I advertise, then I can't execute the work. So, yeah, about
3%. Yes, sir.
My question is related to during your careers, have you found that remodeling tends to be more or less recession?
So the question is, during your careers, have you found that remodeling has been more or less recession-proof? Kelly, why don't we start with you?
It's probably a little more recession-proof just because we're typically doing stuff that's a little more high-end. So a lot of our clients tend to be financially secure and the economy's not as happy.
I would agree. I mean, a lot of clients work a little bit isolated from that, but I think more specifically, I think generally remodeling is certainly more recession-proof because everybody still wants to update their kitchen, even if that's a $30,000 upfit, right? Or if it's a $4.25 million kitchen.
John?
But the remodeling continues on all the time. Challenge that we find with remodeling is when the home builds are down, all the new home builders and those guys get into the remodeling industry. So we have more competition. Once that industry picks up again, it's more of a free market for us. Because most new home builders hate remodeling because there's a lot of variables. I know that. Being a challenge to do it.
We are over 2 minutes over time, so if you have additional questions, please come up to the stage. And thank you so much again for joining us. We appreciate it.